Most people start their photography journey during the day. I went exactly the opposite way. I started with the purpose of shooting at night. I find the conditions during the day mostly boring and flat. But as soon as night falls, the world transforms. The light takes on a new meaning. It's more deliberate, guiding our focus and transforming ordinary spaces into something remarkable. The main difference between daytime photography and night photography is the speed of moments. During the day, everything is chaotic, people rushing by, light constantly shifting, and you have to react quickly, almost instantaneously. But at night, it's the opposite. It's like the world slows down for you. Things don't change as quickly, light is stable, almost predictable. You have time to think, compose, and truly craft your shots. You are not chasing the light, you are working with it. Weather conditions do not impact your images, instead, they enhance them, allowing us to capture moments that otherwise would be impossible during daytime. At night, any source of light around you becomes part of your composition. These lights can dramatically shape your images. Once you've found your light source, consider how the surrounding darkness and shadows can complement it. Shadows act as a natural framing tool, helping to guide the viewer's eye towards the illuminated areas. This interplay of light and shadow creates a natural vignette effect, making the light appear more prominent and enhancing the overall mood of the image. The contrast between glowing highlights and deep shadows also adds a layer of drama and mystery to your photos. When it comes to night photography, your camera settings will mostly depend on your gear. But here is the good news. Modern full-frame cameras are incredibly capable, especially when it comes to their dynamic range, which helps us capture bright light and deep shadows without losing much details. Do not be afraid of pushing the ISO. Grain is not necessarily your enemy, but if you do want cleaner images, post-processing software like Lightroom can easily denoise your photos. One of the advantages of modern-day camera is the in-body image stabilization, which lets you shoot handheld with a slower shutter speed. It might take a few tries, but the stabilization works really well for low-light scenes, without the need for a tripod. As for aperture, go as wide as possible. I personally don't go any wider than f1.8. Any wider can result in misfocus, above all in dark environments. And when I do shoot at this aperture, I always switch to manual focus for better control and precision. And while we are at it, let me introduce you to one of my favorite tools for night photography, the Cinebloom filter. This filter helps create a soft glow around the light sources, making the atmosphere even more dreamy and mysterious. But here is the tip: always expose for your highlights. Those are the most difficult ones to recover once they are blown out. With the Cinebloom filter, the soft glow can easily be pushed over the edge, so make sure you are protecting your highlights in your exposure. And don't forget to play with slow shutter speed. To achieve pictures like these, I usually put the shutter speed at around 1/5 of a second, aperture around 6 and ISO 100. These settings will greatly depend on your environment, and please let me know in the comments below which one you are using. The most fascinating thing about night photography is the ability to transform any mundane scene into a fantastic story. Daylight reveals everything, but at night is what you don't see that makes your image compelling. The shadows hide certain elements, leaving the viewers wondering. Simple objects that during daytime are just ordinary objects that blend into the background. At night, with just a few light illuminating them, they can become symbol of solitude, even nostalgia. This is the magic of night photography. You are not just taking a picture, you are creating a mood, telling a story. The contrast between light and dark directs the viewer's eye, and the lack of details in the shadow leaves room for imagination. When we can't see everything, we are forced to think, to feel, and to engage with the images in a way that daylight photography rarely demands. Any big city will be great for night photography. I personally love escalators, dark empty metro station, neon sign, bridges, and the list goes on. and on. I've taken some of my best shots in places like London, South Korea and Japan. Seoul and Tokyo in particular stand out for the night vibe, but also for the sense of security. You could be out shooting at 3 AM and you will feel just as safe as 3 PM. London, on the other hand, is just a short trip away from Oxford, where I live. And while it's still an amazing city for night photography, it has definitely changed a lot in the past few years. Always be careful of your surroundings. No headphones at night, and side access backpack will make a huge difference in keeping you and your gear safe.